What if one of the most powerful men in music was running an empire built on fear, silence, and human trafficking? This isn't a rumor, this is a federal trial, and his former assistants are finally telling the truth. For decades, Sean Diddy Combs ruled the music industry. Diamond records, lavish parties, a billion-dollar brand. But behind the tinted windows and private jets, something was rotting. Now, his own inner circle, personal assistants who saw everything, are taking the stand. What they're revealing is more disturbing than what anyone expected. Shattered glass, secret pill bags, and whispered threats of blackmail. From the outside, it looked flawless. Diddy wasn't just rich, he was royalty, the face of Ciroc, the mogul who launched Bad Boy Records. Paparazzi couldn't get enough. Fans saw the mansions, the yacht parties, the fashion lines, but none of it showed what was happening behind closed doors. According to prosecutors, Diddy's world was a high-gloss illusion, carefully crafted and carefully protected. His personal assistants weren't just carrying his bags or booking flights, they were gatekeepers, silent witnesses, trained to see everything and say nothing. One of them, David James, remembered it clearly. A team so loyal, or so scared, that turning a blind eye became part of the job. Even when Diddy brought 3 guns into a car, planning to confront rival Suge Knight, no one flinched. The illusion worked. For years, no one questioned it, no one dared. But that illusion couldn't last forever. Working for Diddy wasn't a job, it was servitude, and everyone knew it. "This is Mr. Combs' kingdom," one assistant was told on day one. "We're all here to serve it." Everything had to be perfect. Every bottle, every razor, every pill, lined up just right, facing forward, ready for use. Even the applesauce in his fridge had to be the right brand. One mistake, you were gone. What rhymes with tired? Fired. That was the joke among his staff, if you dared to joke. But it wasn't just control over the schedule or supplies, it was control over people. Assistants worked 100-hour weeks, sometimes for weeks straight. Every trip, every party, every hotel suite had to be advanced, prepared in advance with exact orders, from Jell-O cups to his 40-item cosmetics bag to a separate medicine bag filled with pills, from Tylenol to ecstasy to DMN, near everything in between. And when things went wrong, it wasn't Diddy who cleaned it up, it was them. But what they were forced to clean up wasn't just mess, it was evidence. They weren't parties, they were something else. The staff had a name for them, freak-offs. And after everyone, the aftermath was the same, chaos. Former assistants described walking into 5-star hotel suites littered with empty liquor bottles, used Gatorade containers, shattered whiskey glasses, and always baby oil. There were nights where assistants had to mop up what was left behind, no questions asked. One assistant testified he was told never to look into certain rooms. Another said he had to remove women from suites who couldn't even walk. But it got worse. According to Ventura, Combs didn't just host these events, he forced her to participate, using threats and violence to make her engage in corn acts with male escorts, often while others watched. Always in private suites, always at his command. And still, no one stopped it. The assistants turned their heads. The guards said nothing. Everyone knew, but acted like they didn't. It was as if the freak-offs were just part of the job. But behind those doors, the cost was real lives, real trauma, and the silence that lasted for years, until now. This wasn't just a toxic workplace, it was a kingdom, and Diddy was the king. Ex-assistants described living in constant fear, not just of being fired, but of being watched, recorded, and blackmailed. One former assistant, David James, recalled a New Year's Eve party where he let loose, just once. After taking an ecstasy pill from Diddy's personal stash, he started dancing. Nothing crazy, just having fun. A few days later, Combs pulled him aside. He'd watched the party footage back. "Yo, Playboy, is that you?" Diddy asked. Then he smiled and said he wanted to keep the footage, in case I ever need it. James knew exactly what that meant. This wasn't about discipline, it was leverage. The message was clear. Step out of line and I'll ruin you. It wasn't just assistants. Ventura herself said Diddy used corn tapes as threats, the kind that could destroy someone's career, reputation, or entire life. From lie detector tests for robbed assistants, to replacing stolen diamonds with cheap knockoffs, to controlling what toothpaste faced forward, everything had a purpose. Fear kept people loyal, silence kept him powerful. And anyone who questioned it, they didn't stay long. It was supposed to be just another flight, a luxury jet, a small crew of assistants, security, and Sean Combs flying high above the world. But then, a scream. Not playful, not startled, terrified. Assistant George Kaplan turned towards the sound. What he saw was burned into his mind. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's longtime girlfriend, crouched on the floor. Diddy, towering above her, holding a heavy whiskey glass in the air. Glass had already shattered across the private cabin, but no one moved. Not a single guard, not a single assistant. Everyone just looked away. More screams, more crashes. Kaplan told the court, nobody checked on her. We all just turned away. This wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last. The jet, a Gulf Stream packed with Combs' inner circle, became a flying prison. Every luxury came with silence. Every scream was just part of the ride. And that silence is what allowed this to go on for years. But behind that silence, people were taking notes, and when the time finally came, they brought everything to court. In 2011, rapper Kid Cudi came home to something strange. His Christmas gifts were opened, his dog had been locked in the bathroom, and nothing made sense until he got a warning call from Capricorn Clark, Diddy's assistant at the time. She told him one thing: he's inside your house. The he wasn't a burglar. It wasn't a stalker, it was Sean Combs. Why? Jealousy. Rumors were swirling that Cassie and Kid Cudi were getting close, and if there's one thing Combs couldn't handle, it was losing control. But this wasn't some random outburst. Combs had a system, a playbook of intimidation. When Clark herself got robbed while carrying what insiders called the jewelry suitcase, Diddy didn't just ask questions. He forced her to take a lie detector test. That same suitcase? According to another ex-assistant, the real diamonds inside were replaced after the robbery with cheap cubic zirconia lookalikes. Everywhere around Diddy, trust was fake, fear was real, and silence was survival. But that fear? It wasn't just for employees, even stars were checking over their shoulders. Because in Combs' world, nobody was untouchable. One night, outside Combs' Miami estate, David James stood with Cassie Ventura, sharing a cigarette and an unspoken pain. James asked a question on everyone's mind. Why didn't she just leave? Her answer was chilling. I can't get out. It wasn't just words, it was a confession of being trapped. Diddy controlled more than her music career. He paid her rent, he gave her an allowance. He shaped her life, like a puppeteer pulling strings. James believed her, and the jury did too. It painted a picture of a star caught in a gilded cage where love was twisted with control, and freedom was just out of reach. Sean Diddy Combs built an empire of fame, fortune, and power, but behind the scenes, his personal assistants tell a far darker story. From shattered whiskey glasses to hidden drug caches, and from luxury hotel chaos to whispered cries of control, these testimonies reveal a world where loyalty was demanded at any cost. The glamour faded, exposing a kingdom ruled by fear, control, and secrets few dared to speak about until now. As the trial continues, one question remains: how much of what we see is real, and how much is carefully hidden behind the velvet curtain?